Hello, welcome back to a very short video from me, Ross, at Britain's Hidden History, where we're looking at today at the crazy world of British archaeology, where anything found as ancient cannot be British for some reason. It's not even considered to be British. The British being assumed to be too stupid or incapable of making anything. Now, the one doing the rounds at the moment is this. It's called the York Helmet, also the Coppergate Helmet. And it's going around the rounds on Facebook at the moment, and it's just declared Anglo-Saxon. Okay, here's the Yorkshire Museum, or actually we can look at on Wikipedia if I look on that. It's definitely 8th century and it's Anglo-Saxon. It's found in York, all right? That's the background to it. So we've got the Yorkshire Museum. There we go, and you can see about that. It's one of 6 Anglo-Saxon helmets known to survive the present day. I don't dispute all of them, okay? This is one of the things to point out. Go back to Wikipedia. You got Betty Grange, which is in Derbyshire, okay, Wollaston in Northamptonshire. So we're looking at the middle. Sutton Hoo, I've got a whole series of videos. You can look at that. The whole angle idea and raid weld and all that is falling apart. Widely associated with, it says there, with the raid weld. Well, less and less. Go check the British Museum. They also got some new information about the sites, dating and everything, which will not release, which is very strange. All right, so there's York Museum. So let's have a look. I've got another example here just to show the process. It's the Ram helmet, the same MO. Right, now what's interesting about it, right, here we go. At the time of the arm helmet's discovery, only those from Sutton Hoo and Benty Grange in Derbyshire have been identified. Both of them visually very different. So why are they the same? Anyway, so at first it was assumed the armed specimen might be of Norman manufacture. It's not Viking, it's not Anglo-Saxon, it must be Norman. The British are like ghosts in their own country, okay? It was not until Coppergate and Wollaston helmets were unearthed that it began to be thought that the arm find could have early medieval origins, and they go on about this, right? And that's the whole process. It's a feature, right? It's got the spectacle thing on it. We found one like that in Scandinavia, therefore must be Scandinavian. It's intriguingly a recently discovered 10th century stone sculpture, as well as part of a hogback stone, which Wilson and Blackett do brilliant evidence to show that they're much older. They're probably 6th or 7th century, and the writing on them was British. But anyway, North Yorkshire. Right, okay, so there's a little bit of a thing here. One of the things is very strange. I like to see the original text they lift that Latin from to have a look. Also, the original state of the helmet, okay? You search for it, they seem to be very shy. The nearest we got is this after some work, because these are all creations. These are all flights of fantasy. This is what it looks like on display now. They're done from scraps, little shards that you get to work from. Now what's curious, we can look at the contents of this and the bronze and the iron, and all this. You've got great examples of British metalworking going way back, especially if you look at things like the Bronze Age and you look where the copper comes from, the bronze. You got the British migrations from this area, where the beginning of ironworking and metalworking. Also, if you're making bronze, you need tin, which comes from Cornwall. You got copper, which comes from Wales. All these things, and yet this area is kind of out of it, really. It's a little bit strange. So, is there any chance that this helmet could be British? Well, yes, there is. It's in an area called Elmet. Elmet, which is this area covering pretty much the area the helmets are being found in. Yorkshire, Derbyshire, those kind of areas. You've also got Reged, Cumbria, which as the name suggests, Cymru is Wales, Cumbria, it's the old British, all right? It's the pre-Saxon British, the ones fighting against Anglo-Saxons, Romans, Normans, anybody else who tries their luck. And it says in here, if you look at it, this is Wikipedia, sometimes called Elmed or Elmet. In Welsh it's Elfed, Brittonic Kingdom, which is their shorthand for saying British. The Britons, also known as Celtic Britons, they were Celtic, but never mind, ancient Britons. They're the people who inhabited Great Britain from at least the British Iron Age into the Middle Ages, at which point they diverged into Welsh, Cornish and Bretons. Right, okay, so we've got the Britons there. This Elmet was a kingdom between the 5th century and the early 7th century, in the smaller area of the West Riding of Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, North Derbyshire, okay? So we got lots of evidence. You can look this up yourself, look at the history of it and everything. And what's interesting, we go down to here. There's the boundary of the Norsemen of Scandinavian York and the Celtic Britons of the Kingdom of Strand Clyde. It refers to Leeds. It suggests that some or all of Helmet may have been returned to British rule for a brief period in the first half of the 10th century before Anglo-Saxon reconquest, and it's conquering the land. It's not displacing the people or changing the people. And if you go through this, another thing which is interesting then, according to the genetic study published in Nature in 2015, the local population of West Yorkshire is genetically different from the rest of the population of Yorkshire. It's far more complicated than we're led to believe. The 2015 Oxford University study compared the current genetic distribution of Britain to geographical maps of historic kingdoms and found the distinct West Yorkshire genetic cluster, put my teeth in, closely corresponds to Helmet's known territories. This suggests Helmet may have maintained a regional identity through the centuries. It's different. They're at war with the Anglo-Saxons. You can read about the struggle with Northumbria and the battles going back and forth, it changing hands. But apparently they didn't make helmets. They never had a helmet because, as you can see there from the site, they found it. They said, is it, it's not the same as the other helmets they found. It might not be, it's probably not a Viking helmet, therefore we tried Normans. It's none of those, therefore must be Anglo-Saxon. The fact of it being a native Britain helmet, they had been using helmets for a long time. I mean, even the sort of mainstream depictions of fighting the Romans, hundreds and hundreds of years earlier, they did have helmets. They could make them. It's based on, assume, the process is, take site 1, assume it's Anglo-Saxon. Site 2 looks basically similar, therefore also must be. And when they talk about the basic shape and function, a helmet, every helmet ever made anywhere in the world's got the same basic shape and function. It fits on your head and it protects your head. So it's the weakest possible argument. And you could say, I don't know if it was British or Anglo-Saxon, Norman, Viking, whatever, but neither do they. And what's tragic and mysterious and very strange is why is it never considered it might be British? It's just never considered. Strange, isn't it? Look forward to your comments. And if you do have any links or anything to show the original bits they actually found and a photograph of the original text on the helmet, that'd be really interesting to see as well. So if you enjoyed that, more coming soon. Don't forget, subscribe, notifications. Every day get a short video like this. And then there's a live show, longer show, Sunday evenings, 8 o'clock, which you can join us there and join in the conversation. Till the next time, Heddwch.